Hello everybody. Um, this is not really a tutorial, it's just a quick walkthrough of a production template that I'm going to be posting here right away. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, drums. As you can see here, there is 7 different sections, 3 sends, and of course your master. I'm just going to go through what I have here: drums, audio drop, melodies, vocals, effects, side chain. So, first things first, drums. First you got your drum here, drum rack for all your sounds: kick, snare, hi-hat, toms, perks, whatever the hell you wish. And then here is a compressor, so that's pretty good. Crashes, another drum rack, but more for of course your cymbals, your reverse crashes, white noise if you want. 4 audio channels, meaning like if you wanted to resample some drum sounds, or you already have sounds that you do not wish to put in your drum rack, you just put them here. Okay, audio. Audio is pretty much anything that you want. You can, of course, you can add in more if you want. Insert audio track, insert MIDI track, whatever the hell you want. But audio here is specifically for sounds that are already pre-made or sounds that you've already made and you wish to put them in here. Okay, drop. There is a multi-band processing and compressor going on here. For drop, obviously drop is for like your sounds during your drop, basses, synths, sound effects, if you will. So I found this multi-band dubstep thing from, I forget, some guy on YouTube. He gave it out like a year ago or something like that. But anyways, I'll show you what it is. Multi-band processing. So there's high, mid, low. Anything above 7 kilohertz is being processed separately. Don't touch any of these solos or anything like that. Right here. Keep them as they are because that's very important. First things first, dimension expansion. Expander. This thing is actually for free. You know, I will provide a link directly to it so you can download it. This one is a little bit more wide. It's more wet. So this is going to make the high end a little bit more wide. And then ambience reverb is a long tail decay, and only the high end is being passing through. So yeah, essentially that's a long tail reverb for the high end. Mid is essentially the same thing, except it's not as wide. It's yeah, you know what I mean. And then for the reverb, it's a shorter decay, like pretty much half the length of the other one, and it's more in the middle there, and there's not as much. Low, I forget the. I know that majority, I would say 90% of y'all would not have parametric EQ2 for Ableton. You can actually have that for Ableton. It's actually $20, I think, on FL Studio website, where it gives you all sorts of FL Studio effects, VSTs for any DAW that you have that is on Windows. So, you know, Ableton, you know, Cubase, Reason, yeah. So I forgot to take that out, so I apologize. Maybe I'll resave this right now. I'll just delete. It's that way you don't. Yeah. Plus, it wasn't very important. So save list as Mass Effect production template 2014. Save, overwrite, yes. So now this one is pretty much anything below 230 hertz. It's summed to mono here, as you can see the width. It's originally when you throw on a utility, it's always at 100%. 200% meaning it's summing to stereo. 0% is mono. That thing is important because everything below that frequency range should be at mono at all costs. Otherwise, it's going to sound like shit. Compression, there's just some compression going on there. I've included 4 sounds for you to enjoy. Acid Wub is a really aggressive bass sound that is utilizing double notch and band reject. And you know, there's small movement, plus 12 going up an octave, LFO2, LFO rate, LFO, square, vibrato, sustain. Kill Illuminati Part 2. This is a click sound that I used that's being used a lot in my Halloween track for 2013. There's a click. scream, bass, sub bass. So there's 4 sounds in one, making one gigantic sound. Well, it's not even that big of a sound. It actually just, it has a nice little character to it. Terror Squad. This thing is kind of close to what Zomboy uses in Terror Squad with the second drop, where it's like vroom, 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 vroom. It's like a really consistent sound in the second drop, and it's really sexy sound. I think it's not exactly the same as it, but it's in the same ballpark, so that's pretty exciting. Extra Life. This sound was inspired by this song called Extra Life by, I forget the guy's name. He's from Vancouver though. I'm pretty sure my friends know him in person too, but I forget his fucking name. But anyways, 4 sounds there for you to use. And of course there's 12, I think that's 12, yeah, 12 MIDI channels for you to add in more sounds. Of course you can always add more. 4 audio channels for resampled basses and sounds like that you want to resample and throw them in there. Melodies, pretty self-explanatory. There's 8 MIDI channels and 4 audio channels. Of course, you can add in more. So these are, adding in your synth and and audios for your resampled sounds or sounds that are already pre-made. Vocals, pretty self-explanatory. 4 audio channels. Of course, you can add more. Effects. I just did that just to organize it. So white drop, white noise, noise drop, so forth and so forth. Sidechain. This is important. You want to make sure that this is off at all times. And I've included a kick in the production template right here. So just leave it like that. This is for sidechaining effects. Sidechain effects meaning that when you have a sound that's being routed to this as a sidechain, it's gonna switch. So if you put like white noise and you put it and you routed it to this sidechain, it would be like shh, 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 shh. So if I were to like get rid of 2 of them, it'd be like shh, shh. You get the idea. I'm pretty sure 80% of you guys know what that is, but I'll give you an idea of how to do it. So what you do is you add acid. Say I wanted it on my acid wub, I guess, whatever the hell. I go to compressor, put on the whole sound, go right here, sidechain, no input, and then I go to sidechain right here. So what this is going to do is this is going to be routed to this, which is going 4x4 beat. So every time that it's every time this hits, the signals hit into that compressor, it's going to compress it, and you get the idea from there. So you can do pretty cool effects with that. Let's see. So now the 3 sends, drop verb. This is more for everything for your drop sounds, like your basses, your melodies, everything that wants to be on the drop. Atmosphere is more for the melodies that are on the breakdown, pads, chords, vocal effects, effects, sorry, white noise. Drum verb is only for drums only. So as you can look here, drums, it's being sent to C, which is drum verb. Drop is being routed to A, drop verb. Vocals is on drop verb just to give it more reverb, but of course you could turn that off if you want no reverb going on. Melodies, there's a little bit of reverb on there. I think it's always nice to have a little reverb on your melodies no matter what. Effects, so you can go ahead and like go crazy and add like the atmosphere to your vocals as well as your melodies and such, so it has like a really wet sound, but you don't want to go too overboard with that. Master. Any producer that's experienced will have to sum their track to mono for mixing purposes and mixing monitoring. So when I click this, it's going to sum the entire track to mono, and that way you can check if there's any phasing issues going on in your track. So if there was some phasing that appeared in your track that you didn't apply yourself, that means there's a problem there. You want to go there and fix it by turning it off and going to that specific sound that you were having troubles with the phasing in the mono. Gain is just to compensate for the lack of levels that's been brought down in the whole song. Everything is negative 12 decibels, that way just to bring down the levels of the track. Because it's always important to mix at lower levels, that way there's no internal clipping, it gives more room for the master engineering, and yeah, it's just a better practice. Spectrum is pretty much the frequency makeup of your entire track if you want to see how balanced it is and such. Typically you want this to be the highest end of the part, and you don't want your high end to be higher than your low end, because it'll sound like crap, trust me. Like it, yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'll include a kick for your sidechain, and then you're gonna have to get this yourself, whether you are a Mac user or a Windows user. The dimension expander. So I'll include a link for that as well. So yeah, hope you enjoy.